Once, the towers of Ulan's gate rose to split the clouds, the crenellations of its battlements a rival for distant mountains' peaks. Once, the city stood at the threshold of a sprawling grand empire, but now it looks out only on a land gone feral. Much of the city is as wasted as the range beyond, languishing, neglected by a people diminishing, choosing frivolities and distractions to occupy their days while the slow spiraling earth awaits the coming of the long, cold, dark. But there are some ambitious few, who would yet seek to supplement their own fortunes, braving derelict districts and darkened dioceses, to follow rumors of forgotten magic and inheritances deserted of living beneficiaries. And here in the crumbling wards of Ulan's Gate, here is where we begin. First things first, if I'm going to be delving into any dungeons, I'm going to need me some delvers. So it's time to roll them up. Decent strength, not too hot on dexterity, and kind of disappointing on a couple other stats, but decent gold and a excellent wisdom. Looks like our first player character here is a cleric. Or would be best suited, at least. The stats are rolled normally, 3d6 down the line. In addition, I am randomly determining the gender and alignment. The gender I will roll now. Male. I'm giving it a 2 in 6 chance to be a female adventurer. Alignment is important. I'm going to figure that out in a bit, but for now, we'll think about the character's natural capacity. Starting with the primary stat, wisdom, we are allowed to add a bit from strength and intelligence. Our intelligence is only 1 point above 9, so that gives us nothing, but our strength, for every 3 points above 9, the strength is for a cleric character, we can add 1 to that natural capacity score, bringing us to 17. Somewhat moot, because we will check our natural capacity experience adjustment. If I see a number 15 or greater, the character will be eligible for a 10% bonus to experience earned. So we have a qualified cleric who is beefy but particularly of ill health and of moderate fortunes. Meet Ulvamar the Consumptive. A party of 1 is a party hardly at all, so let's move on to character number 2. Decent strength, decent intelligence, and rockin' constitution. I like seeing that there. A 17 will give us +1 when rolling our dice for the accumulation of damage. In addition, it will give us a 100% guarantee to survive adversity. Not so hot on the charisma there, but it makes sense why this character gets along with Ulvamar. With a strength of 14, the logical choice for this character is Fighting Man. Oh, yes, Fighting Man. And as a Fighting Man, I am entitled to an initial 14 in my natural capacity, plus 1 for every 2 points of intelligence above 9, and plus 1 for every 3 points of wisdom above 9. 14 plus 1 for my intelligence of 12 brings me to a 15 at least. Thereby, this character is eligible for 10% bonus to experience earned. Meet Prax. Lastly, for Prax, before I forget, with an intelligence of 12, he's entitled to 2 bonus languages. Not knowing what we're going to encounter in the dungeon, I figured it might be fun to randomly generate which ones he has, using the wandering monster tables in the referee's folio. We'll see how this goes, in that some of these languages are secret, some of these languages he shouldn't know, and some of these creatures don't speak, but we're going to run with it. D6 for the level, D12 for the cross-reference. Snake Eyes. And 2, 4. Kobolds and fighting men. But what kind of fighting men? We have 6 options in the men entry, so we'll go ahead and see. 4. Buccaneers and pirates. That'll be an interesting one. We'll mark it down and see where it takes us. Again, Prax. Next up, party member number 3. Our first female character of the evening. Average strength, atrocious wisdom, acceptable intelligence. If only we had a dexterity-based class for this woman to slide into, but unfortunately it is 1974 and that does not exist yet. Of the 3 natural capacity fueling stats, intelligence is our best, so we will slide into the role of magic user. Magic users are allowed to use wisdom to improve their natural capacity and therefore gain an experience bonus, but unfortunately this character's wisdom is significantly below average, and as a result we're stuck with natural capacity of 13, resulting in a 5% experience bonus. We'll deck her out. We'll get a backpack, 2 large sacks with 900 coin weight carrying capacity, some rope, a pole, belladonna, wolfsbane. Deck this girl out. One of the things that people don't quite grasp about magic users in a lot of the old school editions, because there's so little at first to spend your starting gold, magic users have the most freedom to do whatever they want. They have the Swiss Army toolbox in their backpack, and because encumbrance is factored with 80 coin weight for the net of miscellaneous equipment, they are a utility kit all in one, and so magic users give you the opportunity to play much more creatively. Our 13 intelligence gives us 3 bonus languages, so let's see what we can speak. Minotaur? Magic users. Well, while magic users may speak a plethora of languages, we'll have to think a little bit about how magic users operate. I was going to talk about alignment a little later, but I might as well get into it now. A magic user by nature is going to be inclined towards chaos. The forces that they interact with are extraplanar and unknowable in a way, and anathema to the order that fuels the cleric. That's not to say it's impossible for magic users to serve the law, just that they typically won't. Someone who is inclined to serve law will be pulled in other vocational directions. So we'll give it a chance. Let's see. I will roll to see what the alignment of the appropriate language would be. Alright, we'll give that to chaos. What is a chaotic creature that a magic user would interact with? I don't have much to go on from the 1974 compatible material, so knowing that it's chaos, knowing that it's magic, we'll say that this character can speak the language of devils. Last up, one more language. Okay, I've rolled into territory where there isn't a language, so let's move on. I had been rolling on the dungeon encounters. Let's roll on the wilderness encounters instead. A flyer. Pegasus. Of all things. Now, Pegasus are not naturally able to communicate, but I'm going to write this down, because that makes a very curious combination. Why would this character know how to speak both to devils and to semi-lawful flying horses? Introducing Sahane the Shrewd. The planned number of party members being 6, we're about halfway there, so we're going to keep on rolling. Intelligence of 15, we're going to have a polylingual, at least, a decent constitution, average otherwise, magic user. Female magic user. I wonder if she knows our previous party member. What's your name? I wonder if she knows Sahane. Definitely got a better capacity for it. Master Apprentice is probably out the window though, because they're both level 1. So, we'll see what she does. Languages. Dragon, Woodland Dialect, Merfolk. Oh, I rolled these all offline. I figure you can trust me, I added the sound effect after the fact. But 2 of them stand out interesting. The first, Hippogriff. Why would this character be able to communicate with, and again, an otherwise non-communicative animal? I figure this is just a horse person, much akin to how you can have a dog person. I am a dog person. We just kind of understand each other, I've found. But simply put, likewise, the trade tongue of pirates. We rolled pirates again. Pairs well with merfolk, but it also pairs well with pracs. I wonder how they may be intertwined. And there we have Azora of the Cerulean Spire. Next up, looks like another cleric. We have a decent strength, a better wisdom, and an even greater desire for a dex-based class for us to slide into, but again, we'll just have to wait. Male cleric, not too much else to worry about. Get him some plate, and he's allowed to use blunt weapons, so let's give this man some character. We'll drop in a lucerne hammer. Stats as polearm. And so joins the party Agrum Whitehand. Last roll of the day. Oh, so remarkably average. We have no obvious things up front. We have a slightly better charisma, but not good enough to matter. So, what are we short on? We're short on fighting men, so we'll go right ahead, dump it in there. Our natural capacity is boosted by having a better than average intelligence, but not enough to give us any real benefit. Quick stock up on some fighter essentials, plate armor, some weapons, and because this little fella is a entirely middle of the road, let's give him a consolation prize. Instead of a fighting man, we'll get a fighting dwarf. His one bonus language will be Gnolls. In addition to that, because he is a dwarf, he will speak dwarf, gnome, kobold, and goblin. And his saves will be done at level 4, or well, 4 levels above his current level, and he will automatically note architectural stuff in the background. So that's nice. Make up for this lack of a thing called positive bonuses. And there we have Ulan, the middling, and we have our party. In the days when Ulan's gate was yet a portal betwixt the wild beyond and a civil empire, it boasted great contributions to art and a great cultural relevance. The Gran Marquee is a relic of these days, a massive complex designed for exposé, but corrupted in its later days by sinister forces who would use its alleged prop and fiction as a guise over venomous rites to calamitous powers in the narrows of its underpinning. Here the party finds itself, having heard that surely such ruinous practice must collapse to itself, and what manner of sorcery might they have left behind among forgotten alms paid to long-dead patrons. Per the Strategic Review solo rules, the beginning room of a dungeon is always a room. The party approaches a staff entrance, so to speak, an opening in an otherwise imposing structure which winds downwards into an open space. 4. I should have checked to see if this was a chamber or a shape. Specifically a room. And a 4 square, 20 by 20. Next, to determine doors and contents. A d6 is rolled and compared to the area of the room. 20 by 20 is 400 square feet, and I rolled a 2. Up to 600 square feet with a 2 is 2 exits. For contents, we roll a d20. I rolled an 8, empty. That makes sense, considering it's open to the world beyond. Now, we'll consider which direction the doors are located. We have 2 dice, 2 for 2 doors, and we're rolling d12s. 7 to the right, and 10 straight ahead. In that this is the first room of the dungeon, we have no reason to suspect that there's secrets or treasure waiting to be hidden in this broken open space. So, instead, we're going to listen at the doors. Ulvamor, Udruin, and Agrum will listen to the north, and Azora, Sane, and Prax will listen to the south. The northern listeners hear nothing, and the east listeners, I said south earlier, I meant east listeners, do hear something, if something is there. What is on the other side of this door? Alright, passage straight ahead. And generally the corridor will be 10 feet wide. And I don't know this yet because I haven't rolled it, but let's see what's on the other side of that door. Stairs. Interesting. Listening, having taken half the turn, let's decide which direction the party will go. I'll say odds north, evens east. East. And now, first, according to the rules, all doors will generally be difficult to open. So we'll give our 3 strongest members chance to force the door down. 1 success. The door is opened. We'll mark off the other half of this turn. Peeking down into the gloom, where do these stairs go? They continue about 10 feet into a dead end, with a 1 in 6 chance that there's a chute at the bottom. No, simply a dead end. These stairs once led into a basement or sub-basement, but the roof has collapsed and lead no further. The party moves back, and instead we'll try the north door. Success. The door is forced open. Now what's on the other side? A room is on the other side. Let's see, go to table 5. Chambers and rooms. I'm going to need more D12s. The room is rectangular, 10 by 20 feet. This makes sense. It kind of lines up with the previous room. Do we have any exits? 10 by 20 is under 600 square feet. 3. We have 3 exits. Interesting. Now where are they? All 3 to the right. I should have positioned my starting room further into the map. Azora, being in the middle rank, unarmored as a magic user, strikes up a torch. We mark the turn and strive north. Just thinking about it, prior to striving north, they probably should have determined what was in the room. Empty, thankfully. So, now to determine which way to go. I think we have 6 party members, so 2 will listen at each of these 3 doors. I happen to have a matching set of a couple dice, so The ones that don't match will be the northernmost, the white dice will be the central, and then the kind of puke dice will be the lowest. It's the southernmost door. If something is seen, or if something is on the other side of the north or central door, I will hear it. But my puke dice have betrayed me, for if there's something on the other side, I will not know. Now to see if there's anything worth hearing on the other side. Earlier I rolled and seen what the actual room content was, but it dawns on me, if I'm going to hear something, it's going to be a monster. So I can roll for content, and if it's a monster, then obviously I'll hear it. It doesn't really matter if it's a room or a hallway or what have you. If it's something weird, we'll just narrate a reason. So I'll use my white die for the middle door again, and the top die will be green this time. Yep. So we have a monster in one, and a monster and treasure in the other. Whew. Very curious indeed. Whew. Very interesting. Now you'll note, I don't know that there's treasure, the party doesn't, but the green die, you see it does say 6, but this is an old-timey die. This is the one that has the D10 twice on it, and so that's 6 there, combined with the determinant die, high-low, said that I rolled a 16. So, fun little aside, I promise to use modern dice from now on. And now to mark half a turn spent listening and determine which door do we want to go through. I know that I heard a monster behind 2 of the doors, but I did not hear a monster behind one of them. So, knowing that, monsters are kind of scary, but at the same time, the party is fresh, and we have a couple strong fighters up ahead of us. So I'm going to roll an 8-sider. On a 1 to 4, we're going to go through the southernmost door, the one which we did not hear anything on. And on a 1 or a 2, we'll go through the north door, and on a 3 or a 4, we'll go on the middle. 5. We're going to go, the party shies away from hazard and, in an abundance of caution, travels the quiet path. We force the door successfully, and now to see what's on the other side. Passage 45 degrees ahead or behind. Now, it would make sense to randomize that, but because these doors are so close together, and knowing that the space to the south is a stairwell down, it would probably make sense too that this would be in going southwards. So how far does this go? Continue straight 60 feet. I'm going to need another piece of paper. Lesson learned. Always start your maps in the middle if you're using a procedural solo crawl. Also, I'm going to start using labels. You'll see there so that I can keep track of what's in there for return voyages. Is there anything in the hall? No, the hall is empty. But at least a couple of my party members are encumbered to armored foot, and 60 feet is perfect. That finishes out the turn. Let's see what's at the end of this hall. 5. A door. Now, there are no rules in this little chart to indicate if the door would be locked or not. I'm tempted to use my own home doors blog post to determine the characteristics of the door, but for the time being, let's play by the book, or by the magazine, as it may seem. Let's have some of the party members listen at the door. I hear nothing. Next, let's have some of the party members force the door. We'll use we don't really have a benefit for not using the magic users in this. Specifically, the rules indicate that a character who forces the door is excluded from potential surprise. So let's force the door with our 2 magic users and one of our clerics, Ulvamore, our plate and shield. Force success. What lies on the other side of this door? Find out next time as we delve deeper into the Gran Marquee at Ulan's gate.